I'm Mama Baird and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be canning up some meatballs. I got a lot of meat in my freezer that I'm trying to get out of there, so I'm going to be making kind of like a smorgasbord. I got some venison, some buffalo, and some ground beef that I'm going to be mixing all together, add a couple seasonings. We're going to bake them off, and then we're going to can them up, and I'm going to show you how to do it. So let's get to it. Alright, here's the ingredients I'm going to be using. Some ground sirloin here. This is about 6 pounds. I have some buffalo. These 3 are buffalo, so 3 pounds of buffalo. And then 4 pounds of venison. First thing I'm going to do is just open up all these meats and mix them all together. We're going to add a little bit of seasoning. You don't want to add any kind of breadcrumbs or eggs to these. We're just going to do seasonings. Beef. I might have to do this in batches, not too sure. Buffalo. Have any of you guys tried bison? Buffalo, bison, same thing. It's a very lean meat. That's why I am mixing it with the ground sirloin that has some nice fat in it, so it should even out. You can do this with any kind of meat if you want. You could add sausage to this. Pretty much whatever thing you like to put in your meatballs, you can put in here. There's no breadcrumbs. Something about not being able to can breadcrumbs. If any of you guys had any information on why you cannot can any bread products, go ahead and drop that below. Oh, bison's double wrapped. I like it. All right, I'm gonna fit it in there. Oh, would help. I cut the package. This is a big one. All right, got all that out. All right, give my hands a quick wash. Just a quick one because I'm going to be getting my hands in there and mixing it all up. But I'm going to be adding my seasonings first. What I'm going to be adding is some Mushroom and Company Unami seasoning. So this is just like mushrooms seasoning. Add some of that. You can garlic powder here. Add whatever you'd like. Salt. And then I got some minced onions here, dehydrated ones. You can put fresh onions, but that's what makes your meat fall apart. And without the breadcrumbs and eggs in these, I'm going to put dehydrated, so that helps suck up some of the moisture. And some pepper. Oh, this is going to take forever. Alright, take the ring off. Oh, look at that, man. I'm available for the next 3 minutes while I mix this. Don't be afraid to get in there, get your hands dirty. Almost don't have a big enough bowl. You can never have a big enough bowl, am I right? Am I right? All right, let's show that in there. Get out some of your frustration. Oh, that smells good. All right, gonna call her done. To portion up these meatballs, I'm gonna use my handy dandy cookie scoop. Gotta give it a couple of squeezes, make sure it works. And we're just going to be making little tiny balls, like that. You can use a bigger scoop if you want to make them another bigger size. I think that's pretty good. I might do some smaller, some bigger. I don't know, we'll see how I'm feeling. So I'm just gonna line all these up and then we're gonna bake them. Now the reason you wanna par cook them is because whenever you load your jar full of raw meat, it will keep the form that you put it in there. So if you put a bunch of round raw balls in there, then they will just congeal and become one giant massive jar ball, which is not what we're looking for. So if you want something to keep its shape, then you always want to par cook it a little bit so that way it doesn't become one giant mass. So that's the reason we're doing this. right, first tray done. I'm gonna be baking these for, I'm gonna do 15 minutes, and then if I have to add 5 extra minutes, then I will. You don't want these to be cooked all the way, but you do want them kind of par cooked. So I'm gonna go ahead and put them in there for 15 minutes, and I'll show you what they look like. Okay, these meatballs just came out after 15 minutes. You see they are brown, but they are not fully done. They could probably use another 10 minutes or so, but that's okay because they will cook the rest of the way in the canner. Now that these are out, I'm gonna let them cool for a little bit, and then I'm gonna transfer them to a bowl so I can keep the rotation going and keep more meatballs cooking. And I'm just gonna keep doing that until all my balls are cooked. Holy meatballs, that's a lot of meatballs, and they are smoking. You know what else is smoking? Mama Baird's channel. Make sure you give this video a like, subscribe, and press that notification bell, you know, every time I'm canning stuff up. All right, that's all I got. Subscribe. Well, I wanted enough meatballs for 14 quarts, and it looks like I got enough for 40 quarts, but we're gonna load them up and we'll see how many we get. I was able to fit about 14 to 16 meatballs per quart, which is great. So I'm going to fill these ones up with broth. I have 7 with broth, and then we'll see if I can get 7 with just tomato sauce. So after you got the broth filled, I got it to a 1-inch headspace. You're gonna debubble. So I'm just gonna kind of stick my knife in there around the edges. Definitely don't wanna pierce it through any of the meatballs. Just kind of moving them around. Make sure I got all that air out. Okay, and then after that, I have some distilled vinegar and just a paper towel. Now when you're wiping these rims really well, you wanna make sure that you're checking for any kind of cracks or chips or anything like that that would prevent it from sealing really well. This ball's me sticking up a little bit. We'll test it out, make sure that one's okay. Then a lid and a ring. Twist it to fingertip tight. And this is going in the canner. There we go. So that's 1 canner full of the beef ones. So this canner is full of all of the beef broth ones that we just did. I did fill this up with 3 quarts of water. That's what my pressure canner requires. Make sure you check your manual to see what yours is. Most of them are 3 quarts though. So that's what I did with that, and I had that just at a simmer, and we put those in. Now let's do the tomato ones. For the tomato one, I'm gonna add a little sauce on the bottom just to kind of fill in the gaps of the meatballs, or else there'll be a lot of air space that I'd have to try and get out. So just like 2 scoops of that, and then we'll add the meatballs. Do a layer, add another scoop. A layer. Another scoop. Okay, let that go down. Work on the next one. Okay, now I'm gonna try and debubble these. So I'm just going to, same thing. Stick my knife down there. Try not to break up any of the meatballs, but also want to close up all those air bubbles. Alright, after you debubble, same thing, wipe the rims really good. Well, I'll tell you what, I was afraid that I made too many meatballs, but I'm probably about 2 short of exactly 14 quarts. So that's how much meat went into it. You saw how small I made them. You can make them bigger, whatever. I blame the children for eating some of my meatballs. The children are gonna be sorely disappointed because it smells good in here and they think this is what's for dinner, but it's not. I don't know how many times they're like, Mama's cooking. Yeah, Mom, what's for dinner? I'm like, I haven't made dinner yet. They're like, but it smells good. I'm like, oh, that's for the canning. That's not for you. All right, so these pasta sauce ones are going in. All right, we got our 14 quarts. Let's get the lid on here. Let's get the lid on her. Crank up that heat. Now, as soon as these start boiling, they're gonna need to vent for 10 minutes, and that's just where you let the steam come out of the valve for 10 minutes, and that helps release all that air and make sure it can help it come up to pressure quicker. So we're gonna do that, and then we'll put on the weight, and we're gonna do meat times on these. Now, meat times are, if it's their pints, it's 75 minutes. If it's quarts, then it's 90 minutes. So we're doing these for 90 minutes. Oh boy. All right, I'll bring you back whenever they're all done. All right, guys, these are all done. I let these go for the 90 minutes because they were the quarts. So you're gonna remove the weights. These have been sitting for a while too. I just heard one ping and I was like, oh yeah, my meatballs. So we're just gonna crack it. Let some of that steam out. Open, says I. There we go. Let's get them out and see what they look like. Guys, these meatballs turned out fantastic. Do you hear that ping? They're happy. I had a little siphoning, but really nothing too bad, and that's pretty normal. Pretty much everything has siphoning. But now I have meatballs in a jar, some with spaghetti sauce or just tomato sauce so I can add seasonings when they come out, and then I have a quick spaghetti and meatball. I have some in broth where I can strain the broth, make a gravy. We can make meatball sub sandwiches. We could turn it into Swedish meatballs. The possibilities are endless. And now I have all that meat out of my freezer and onto my shelf. I couldn't be happier with that. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time on Mama Baird's.
These are very cool meatballs that we like eating. And that's why we always make meatballs. And thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe that button and just join my channel.